Surprise, it's me, Natty, and I'm sitting in for Jet today and today only, so don't panic. In Thailand news today, the Prime Minister has asked the public not to panic over the first detection of the Omicron case. Thailand's King Cobra Special Unit team is now actively searching for illegal migrants along the border using technology. And international tourism demand for Thailand will take years to recover. All that and more in today's program. Happy Tuesday, and you're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the latest headlines in Thailand and beyond. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay up to date on the news. The Thai Prime Minister is urging the public not to panic over the emergence of the Omicron COVID-19 variant in the kingdom. He says everyone should remain on their guard and the unvaccinated should get vaccinated as soon as possible. Government spokesman Thanakorn Wangbunkongchana said health officials will continue to check for more Omicron cases around the country. But there are no plans at the moment to reintroduce tougher restrictions. According to Thanakorn, the PM feels confident about existing measures and screening processes, adding that the country's first Omicron infection was detected quickly. The case was reported in an American business traveler who arrived in Thailand from Spain via Dubai on November 30th. It's understood the man is in quarantine and is asymptomatic. In related news, the Interior Permanent Secretary has ordered governors in the southern provinces of Songkhla, Yala, Pattani, Narathiwat, and Satun to step up border checks. The government is anxious to combat the arrival of illegal migrants from neighboring countries such as Malaysia, which has also reported the arrival of Omicron variant. Officials have also reiterated their intention to crack down on human traffickers and people smuggling gangs who facilitate illegal border crossings. Provincial governors are also being instructed to increase vaccination campaigns to encourage more members of the public to come forward for inoculation. A surge in demand for foreign labor is making it difficult to control illegal border crossings since the lifting of restrictions on COVID-19 in Thailand, along with the reopening on November 1st. To deal with it, Thailand's King Cobra Special Unit team under the Surasi Task Force is now actively searching for unauthorized migrants along its western border with Myanmar using technology. 8 districts in the province of Prachuap Khiri Khan border Myanmar with 34 natural border passes linking the two countries. The head of King Cobra unit claimed that 933 Myanmar migrants were arrested along the 282-kilometer-long border in Prachuap Khiri Khan between October and November this year. The team is collaborating with the Border Patrol Police and paramilitary forces, the Immigration Bureau, Customs Department, and local governments to prevent illegal crossings into the kingdom. Workers from neighboring countries, for example, can only enter through specified checkpoints in Tak's Masod district, Ranong, Sak Kaeo, Nong Khai, and Mukdahan under current labor agreements. 4 companies of soldiers from the Royal Thai Armed Forces have been deployed to reinforce border patrol operations. Each group of King Cobra's units is equipped with night vision monoculars and drones to identify border intrusion. Authorities are also gathering intelligence from remarks made by illegal migrants who have been arrested, which might be used to guide future operations.
We're here with Sean Stenning from 5 Star Marine, and behind us we've got the money shot. We've got Phang Nga Bay. What's been happening in Phang Nga Bay, one of the most popular destinations during the closure period?
The National Park's taken some great steps actually. They've installed a new floating check-in point out there so they can monitor the number of people going in and out of the National Park. On James Bond Island itself, they've taken off all the shops that used to be there and really restored it back to its natural look.
Oh, fantastic. All right, so what else can you do in Phang Nga Bay? James Bond Island is the famous location, but there's plenty else out there.
Yeah, certainly it's one of 40 plus islands out there, and I say James Bond Island is fantastic, but the other 40 are probably even more beautiful. You can go kayaking through the mangroves, exploring under the caves, swimming in some of the lagoons. It's really just a great spot out there.
So the story is that Thailand is reopening, Phuket's open, and the islands are open.
Exactly right, and now is the time to get out to explore because the sea is nice and calm, the weather's looking good, and we're still at low tourist numbers.
So there it is, and it's waiting for you. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tim.
3 people are being charged of the involvement in a transnational human trafficking operation where Burmese migrants were promised work in Thailand, but later were forced into labor, even prostitution. The 3 were arrested in Tak's Masaw district, which borders Myanmar. The suspects allegedly lured migrants into Thailand by helping them cross the border illegally, evading immigration checks and COVID-19 screening measures. Officials say the traffickers then extorted up to 120,000 baht in cash from the migrants and their family members. Officers from the Children, Women Protection and Anti-Human Trafficking Center are tracking down other suspected members of the operation, which could be around 7 people. International tourism demand for Thailand is still low, with full recovery predicted to take years. Just 133,061 foreign arrivals touched down in Thailand between November 1st and 30th, well below the 3 million visitors a month of pre-pandemic times. However, despite low visitor numbers to this province, the Tourism Council of Phang Nga remains optimistic for the coming months. According to the council, forward bookings for January and February have already reached 30%, while this month's average hotel occupancy rate of 20% is up from 10% last month. Meanwhile, the Tourism Council of Krabi says things are also looking up in the southern province during the end of the year holiday period, with an increase in direct flights. Police are investigating the death of a tourist during a tour of Doi Ang Khang mountain in northern Chiang Mai. A tourist was killed and 8 others were wounded in a van crash yesterday while travelers were on a tour around 8 a.m. 39-year-old Thira Promri, who had come from Samut Prakan, which is a southeast of Bangkok province, was driving the 15-seater van on the mountain when the vehicle skidded off the road by kilometer marker 15. The van was severely damaged, and a rescue squad brought the 9 other passengers to the hospital. Regionally, the government of Indonesia and Malaysia are agreeing to vaccinated travel lane or travel bubble by early 2022. The arrangement would permit vaccinated people to travel between both countries without the need for quarantine on arrival. The Indonesian ambassador to Malaysia, Hermono, confirmed the plan during a press conference yesterday. He says the Indonesian government is working with Malaysian officials to streamline travel for vaccinated passengers. Both governments are checking on each other's COVID-19 track and trace measures. Indonesia and Malaysia plan to introduce vaccinated travel lanes between Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, as well as Kuala Lumpur and Bali. Both governments will recognize vaccines administered in either country, as well as standardizing COVID-19 testing. In related news, Indonesian officials visited Singapore last week as part of preparations for a vaccinated travel lane between the city-state and Indonesia. Singapore recently reopened to vaccinated travelers from Malaysia, but officials have confirmed additional screening measures as a result of the emergence of the Omicron variant. Travelers in both directions must now also take an antigen test on day 3 and day 7. Last week, Malaysia confirmed the first case of Omicron, which was reported in a student who had arrived from South Africa via Singapore. There has been no confirmation from the Malaysian government as to whether the latest development might affect the country's reopening plans. And that wraps up our news report for today. Jet will be back to report all the latest news for Thailand News Today tomorrow. That's all for me. Have a great evening, everyone.